All right, fellow barbell lover and crazy cat lady. I
Yeah,
love it. I'm in.
it's okay. Yeah,
Sign
it's
me
all
up.
good.
What's her name?
Her name is Rogue.
Rogue.
Yeah, it's a boy's name, but she's very well. I love the name Rogue because I named it after the weights that I use
Yeah,
for weightlifting.
yeah.
There she is up in the background there.
Legend.
Um, she's part Bengal, so she's quite curious, but yeah, she just does her own thing, and that's why I called her Rogue. She's just like out there, does her own thing. She acts more like a dog anyway, so
Well, people who say they can't train cats are lying to you. You
they're
know,
very
you
smart.
100% can, right? You just got to learn to communicate in their language rather than English.
Exactly. Yeah. No,
That's the
I actually was a huge dog person. I love animals of all kind, but
mm.
I was never a cat person. But then I bought her during COVID, and so I was
Oh,
like, just the coolest cat. I mean, then I started learning more about cats. I'm like, oh wow, like I'm sold. Like I only have one cat, but I would have a million. Trust me. Like
it's like me mum. Like I swear to God, every time I ring me mum, she's got an extra three cats.
yeah,
I'm like, what do you mean? Oh no, 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 they were stray. It's okay. I was like,
yeah, right,
mum, leave the fucking
yeah,
cats alone, will you?
yeah,
No, no, it's okay. Like they need a home. It's like, I think you need a home. But
yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
it's crazy
Yeah,
people, man. Crazy people. But you
yeah.
came silver medal.
Yeah, I got silver medal, which I was happy. I was actually that's what I was going for was silver because like last year I got gold, but this year I got sick at Christmas, so I actually lost a lot of strength and body weight. I lost 15 pounds and
Yeah.
it was really hard to do a quick peak within a month. So I was happy for seconds, so I could still get a placement on Team Canada, which was good. So um now I'm just taking a little bit of a break. Just doing more like hypertrophy and bodybuilding kind of movements right now, like high volume but lower weight. So, but getting heck like hella strong. So,
Mm.
you
Do you
know,
want to let everybody know like what it was? So, I mean, it's not silver medal and tiddlywinks, right? Like you're a bit of a weapon with a barbell.
what's that?
Tiddlywinks, is that a fucking is that a British thing where you gotta like flick the coin and get it in a cup?
Right? That is a
Uh,
British thing. That's a British thing.
I don't know. We do a lot of shit, man. It's just that and robbing corner shops. You know, there's no in between.
Yeah, no.
So,
Well, I don't mind how I've been to UK before and I loved it. So,
what part of the UK?
well, I only went to, so I stayed like right beside London Bridge, like in an
Oh,
Airbnb. It was because I was a tourist, right? And then at that time I was into photography. I was actually touring around doing like modeling and photography. So
wow.
did that for 10 years. So I got to see most of the world. It was pretty awesome. But I had a friend that lived there. So I stayed in the little Airbnb and then we went to Cambridge, had my tea and scones and
Oh, come on.
scones, whatever. So that's all. And then I saw some of the countryside. I don't know which area it was, but it was really beautiful. I think it was not the train. I think the photographer drove me out there, but it was just like a lot of the countryside and got out of the city. So that was really nice. So
Yeah, it's an old
still
place,
lots.
man.
Yeah. I liked all the little markets. I really loved the little boroughs and it was great because I could walk there every day to a little different area like Camden and then
Yeah.
another, I forget what the other borough was, but always great food and entertainment. It was really nice.
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely like especially for people like from Canada or the States or Australia or New Zealand, right? Because everything's so far away, you gotta get in the car and drive friggin' hours,
Yeah.
right? Like you go over there and it's a lot older, everything's a lot more crammed together. It's this kind of weird melting pot of everything, I
Yeah.
guess. It's cool. Like it's cool. There's a lot of negatives, but there's positives and negatives everywhere.
Well, yeah, and then you come here and everyone's like, oh my God, everything's so spaced out. Everyone's like so amazed by the amount of space, right? So it's quite opposite. So
Yeah, I don't get it. Like you get so much space for your money. I was like, what do you mean?
yeah, I know. It's too
like
much. It's too much.
like an acre back home is like at, way into the six figures, way into
Yeah.
it.
No, I
Like
know.
acres, we fucking we measure it by
Yeah,
like meters and centimeters. You know what I
exactly.
mean? No, no, I've got
Yeah,
this
yeah.
like 5 by 5 centimeter square, and this is my plot of land. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
No, it's crazy, yeah. But
It's culture, it's
yeah,
different places, it's different people, it's different ways of living, and you're like, ah, sound like I don't know the best way. Like it's more
yeah,
just experiencing it, right? And be like, oh, what's this like? And do I like it? No, okay, crack on.
yeah. Well, I love that's my passion. I love traveling and seeing different cultures. So
What's your favorite?
my favorite place I've been, I haven't been anywhere like super exotic at all. Like I haven't been anywhere in Asia. I went to Panama City
Wow.
um last year, which it was nice. I wish I had more time to explore, but I really liked that. I loved Australia, obviously. So I mean, those are probably the top two places that I want to go to Thailand so bad. Like I want to go explore the other I was supposed to go to Commonwealth Games last year. It was in New Zealand. I mean, yeah, but I want to go more like exotic places.
Mm.
I just don't think I don't really, I mean, I have no problem traveling by myself. I just don't have anyone that would really be interested in, I don't know. I guess none of my friends are that adventurous to go along with me, but
Mm.
I mean, I don't really need a traveling partner, but
Yeah,
um,
just disappear on your own, right?
yeah. So for me, like I want to go to Peru. I want to do some hiking in Peru and stuff. So we'll see. I can take care of myself. I'm not afraid to go anywhere by myself, but I think the way the world is now, you do have to be a little bit more careful for sure.
Mm. And especially
But
like, sharing memories with people, even if it's just to like talk shit or and
yeah.
it's a little bit better, what I think
Yeah.
I think it's great traveling on your own. You learn a lot, but
Oh yeah.
sometimes you just want to go and talk shit with some people.
Yeah. Well, it makes you converse with people, right?
Mm.
So like when I did the whole modeling photography thing, like I made so many friends that I always had a place to go to if I wanted to go back there. Like they're like, "Hey, you could stay with us." And you meet so many people. Whereas if you go with like a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, you're kind of limited, right? Like you
Yeah.
just kind of stick to your stuff selves and it's not as fun. Like I like secretly like I actually enjoy traveling by myself than to go with my partner. So would I tell him that? No, but like it is a lot more fun, you know. But what are you gonna say? No, don't come, kind of thing. So
Yeah, say that. See what happens.
yeah. Well, he honestly doesn't have the money because he's got 3 kids. So I'm like, I'll
Uh
just go on my own anyway. So
Perfect. See you later. I can send you a
yeah,
postcard. I get you a
exactly.
fridge magnet or something.
Yeah, right.
Take a
Well, I
little
told him
10.
that this year. I was like, I'm going to North America. So I have the North American Championships in August and it's in Grand Cayman Islands. And I'm like, I'm going, like for sure. Like if you can't go, then that's okay. But I'm gonna go. So it might be our first little travel that we'll do stuff like without each other, which is fine. So
Mm. So how did you transition? Have you always been into the barber? Or did you transition from the photography modeling thing to the barber?
to the powerlifting, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, well, I mean, when I forget how long I did the modeling travel thing. I did that from like 2007 until about 2016, so almost 10 years.
Mm.
Uh, Now keep in mind when I was doing that, I was totally so I was single, first of all, right? Which made it a lot easier, but I was also not really into fit. Like I was always conscious about my health and stuff, but I wasn't into weightlifting.
Mm.
So I'm 220 pounds right now, a lot of it pure like muscle. When I was doing my modeling, I was like 150 pounds.
Bloody
So
hell.
imagine 150 pounds on a 5'11" frame, right? Um, so looking back, I probably had a little bit of a eating disorder, to be honest. Because I like even at that weight, I thought I was like fat, right?
Mm.
But now looking back at photos, I'm like, wow, like my bones were protruding. Like it was horrible. Like I can't even look at pictures of myself. I was still like, I know. Then I started gaining weight like later on. Like I was up to 175, and that's when I started getting into like MMA and like powerlifting. Kind of was part of my MMA because I had to do that as part of my training for strength.
Mm.
And then I did the MMA thing, did a cage fight. Then I was like, oh, I want to do something else. So then I get into powerlifting, right? Like I'm kind of like the Benny Hahn. You know how Benny Hahn is?
Mm.
I tried like everything once. I want to dominate it and then I want to move on, kind of thing, right? I've always been like that since I was a kid. Like they say a lot of athletes are overachievers anyways. So as a small child, I always like I would get into a sport. I remember winning like gold medals all throughout track and field. Then I was like, oh, I want to try tennis. I won the tennis Ontario's. I went to basketball. I went to hockey. I did like I just kind of went into everything, and I was like, oh, okay, I did my best. I'm gonna move on now. So
What
so
what
now it's powerlifting for some reason, but
what made powerlifting stick?
um, I just love being strong, right? Like there's so many like there's a lot of benefits too, like as you get older, right? Like building muscle and bone density, right? And if you're strong, like hell, I don't want to be like a 70-year-old going in for a hip replacement, right? You see that so often. Like I've seen almost everyone that I know that's older is like, oh, my knee or my hip. They can't get out of a chair without using their hands. Like it was mainly for means of survival, really, when I get older, right? Like I guess call me a planner, but I'm just like, I want to be strong and I want to be healthy when I get older, but I also want to look, obviously good on the outside. I mean, I eat healthy. Um, I mean, look at it now. It's like back in the day, it was like fit, it was cool to be skinny. Now it's the opposite. It's like, and I don't see it going backwards where it's like women want to be thick. They want to be like muscles are sexy, right? I don't ever see that going backwards and being like, oh, thin is in. Remember the old waif and Kate Moss kind of
Yeah.
look? Like I don't see that ever coming back. Especially now with the whole like body acceptance and yeah, so I love it. Like I love the body that I have with it too, right? Like um so there's just a lot of benefits. And then being strong, being like uh being able to lift more than my boyfriend and all the guys at the fire hall. you know, it's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
cool.
cool. It's fucking cool as
Yeah.
shit. Like I remember I coach CrossFit, right? So I remember this. It was last week. This lad comes
Yeah.
in, brand new. I was like, "Have you really done any of this before?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Wicked." It was like, "Kind of, what's the best thing about CrossFit?" I was like, "Well, you're always getting humbled by some chick throwing 100 kilos above her head."
Right.
And you're like, what
Yeah.
do you mean? It's like, yeah, mate. Like you'll see a lady walk in, she'll be lovely, and then she'll fucking load that barbell up till it bends and throw it above her head. And you're like, what the fuck? You're like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool as shit. Like people are here,
Yeah.
like, what can you do? And the birth
Yeah.
of I think it's CrossFit and it's also the popularization of powerlifting, right? Because anybody can do it in
Yeah.
a commercial gym. Everyone can
Yeah.
SPD or some sort of
Yeah. Yeah.
derogative. And I think that's one of the best things that could have happened. Like if
Yeah.
someone wants to get into weights, I say master SPD.
Yeah. No, and I
Do
think
that.
CrossFit too, like, I mean, I started doing my, like I just said, my hypertrophy, my higher volume stuff. So I was doing like a 3x12 for my
It's not.
deadlifts at
It's nasty.
275. And I was like, oh, my cardio. And then I was like, oh, and then my coach was like, oh, you should start getting into CrossFit. Like, I know, I envy you. I envy CrossFit guys because I can't do like half the stuff, more like the cardio stuff, right? But I wish. I mean, maybe that's something I can get into down the road, but I mean, I think they're very intertwined, right? The two. So
100%. Weightlifting is my thing. I do even less than
yeah,
powerlifters. Six lifts, not nine.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like you throw it above your head, you sit down, be like, oof, that was
yeah,
difficult.
yeah,
Like, and then when you come up and it's like, oh, you got to do it for time, and it's 50 reps. You're like, 50? Is that a typo?
yeah,
You mean
yeah,
five? No,
yeah,
50. 5.0.
yeah,
No, Alex, 50. You're like, no, give over. Like
yeah, yeah,
maybe over 2 weeks, I'll do 50 reps, But
yeah,
in terms of confidence as well, like you see men and women like kind of walk out of the gym, chest up, fucking chin out.
yeah. Well, no, and it's true. Like I remember when I started even just doing MMA and then doing the powerlifting along with it. I remember one of the instructors, he was like a jiu-jitsu guys, very nice fellow. But he said, he goes, April, I noticed that your like posture has changed. And I said, why? And he goes, oh, you look taller. And he goes, you must, you're like you said, I'm standing up, like, all proud and like feeling good. And it really does, right? And it was funny where I was talking to my friend the other day, and he's got a daughter that's like always on her phone, which is a big problem now with
Mhm.
obviously teenagers, even adults, right, being on the phone. And they did like this huge study about like how um just like development, how the kids these days are not like the testosterone levels are so much lower in males, and
Mhm.
also the posture because kids are always on their phone, right?
Mhm.
Hunched over, looking down, right? So I mean, right there, like it's just a huge difference. Like, I mean, hit the gym, right? But they're so addicted to the phones. I mean, I go on the phone too, but I mean, it's just it's just a prime example of what exercise can do for you, right? And your posture and how you feel about yourself, right? So
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how we've gone from, the physicality of a human being the biggest thing we're striving for, to now technology's kind of come in, and we're like, oh
yeah,
yeah, we need to forget about these organic things that we're bound to. You're like, guys, we're,
yeah,
I think we're missing something out here. Why don't we just and not or, add it as an addition, and
yeah,
I think every high school needs to have a gym, like a weight
yeah,
room. I think every high school needs to have a qualified strength and conditioning coach, even if it's one. I don't give a fuck, just one. Give them one, right?
yeah,
Even if it's state funded, if it's whatever, I don't know. Like I don't know the ins and outs. I think it needs one of them, and they need to do compulsory of like 10 hours of physical activity a week, not bloody
yeah,
two. I know back home it's 2 hours. You got to do 2 hours.
yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, I was doing tours around the high schools before Christmas, and I was basically doing it as like a mental health thing for the kids to get
Amazing.
into. So I'd go there and I'd teach them. And I talked about addictions, right? Because I'm a recovering alcoholic. So and like I dabbled in drugs and stuff, but so I go there and I kind of lecture, not didn't lecture them, but I spoke to most of the grade 11 and grade 12 kids about how like the importance of exercise, right? You need that as an outlet.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to see a lot of the high schools actually had a really good gym. Like they had more bench press, like benches and squat racks than my own gym. It was really cool to see. And a lot of them said, yeah, like, I'll go in to the gym after school or go on my lunch break. So you are seeing more of that because they didn't have that when I grew up. They had
Mm.
like a little jungle gym or like
Mm.
monkey bars and all these little things, right? So
That's awesome. I think again, I think North America is as a whole, I know it's a blanket statement, but as a whole, I think it's more progressive, especially from the UK. UK, you get nothing. You get not. You get nada. You get a football. That's what you get. Go fucking kick
yeah,
a football, and that's kind of it. And
yeah,
I think that's really cool. I think that's really cool
yeah.
to see. Here's a question then. What's the biggest thing you learned from being an alcoholic?
Being an alcoholic, like currently, like presently,
Yeah. What do you think you've learned having come out of it, having had that life experience? Like, obviously you would have liked to have learned the lesson without having to trip up. And we all have those thoughts, right? But you had the lesson from it. And what is that lesson?
um, well, there's two different things. One kind of like was a reason why I mean, I didn't realize that at the time, but one of the reasons why I drank, and to this day is something I always have to work on, is that I can't control things that are out of my control, right? So it's very common. So if you go to an AA meeting, one of the things they say at an AA meeting is the serenity prayer, right? I don't know if you know the serenity prayer, but it's about accepting the things that you cannot control in life, right? Because a
Mhm.
lot of people, alcoholics especially, drink because they find some type of thing in life, whether it's a person, a place, or a thing, or an event that they find unacceptable, that they can't handle. So we would drink, right? And that goes with today. Like I find that if I say if my boyfriend does something I don't like he had dinner plans with me and then he canceled to do something else. Oh, it gets, it might get me riled up, but I gotta like let that go. Because
Mm.
if you hold a lot of stuff inside, um, or like whatever, I go for a competition and I don't get my what I want, the numbers that I want, right? That's again, that's sure that's something in my control because that's my performance, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's just a girl there that lifts more than me, right? Like at the nationals, there was a girl that was 7 years younger than me, weighed 100 pounds more than me. She lifted more than me. I can't control that. I can just do what I can do, right? But that's what I kind of learned. I didn't learn it as an alcoholic when I was actually actively drinking, because God, I was just in a whole other world then. But
For sure.
that's one thing that I have to work on every single day, or I'll drink again, right? Like, um, to live in the moment, not to get stressed out about the past or the future. Really got to go. That's why we have to go day by day, right?
Mm.
But the one thing that being an alcoholic that I love, which is actually a blessing, and I'm very grateful for, is that I'm able to communicate. Like, remember someone said to me that alcoholics are some of the most emotionally intelligent people that he's ever met. This is coming from a doctor. And I said, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, because you have to communicate. So, like, say if something's bothering me, I can't hold that in. I need to express, like, I'm like my feelings, right?" Where a lot of time of people say this with a friend, you might have a resentment growing inside you about something that, say, your girlfriend forgot your birthday gift, or I didn't get something on Valentine's Day, or um it could be like the smallest little resentment. But for me, like, I need to talk that out. And if I don't, that gets very dangerous for me, right? So
Mm.
if I love someone, or I'm really big on just going up to strangers and going, I think you look beautiful. I
Mm-hmm.
love your smile. Not only is that awesome because it made someone's day, but it's like, why not? And if something that my boyfriend did that bothers me, I'll say, like, you know what? Instead of me getting angry and holding it in, I said, it really hurts my feelings when you do this, you know? Um, and like during my whole day, I could be like, I could call my boyfriend 10 times a day if I have something on my mind.
Mm.
And he probably thinks I'm crazy, but he knows that I need to get it off my chest, or it's a thought in my head that I need to clear out, right?
Mm.
Um, it's allowed me to be more outgoing, obviously. Like, um, if even if I was talking to you, maybe I don't know you that well, but if you said something that I found like offensive or rude, I would call you out on it.
100%.
You know what I mean? Whereas some people would be like, "Oh, I don't want to offend him," or like, like, it's really allowed me to be um open and honest with myself. Because if I don't, then there's no way I'm gonna stay sober. So
Mm.
um yeah, like I can't lie. It's not in my mechanics anymore. Like, I had a lifetime of lying
Mm.
and cheating and whatever. Just, I wouldn't say I was a bad person. I was a sick person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for now, it's like the littlest thing that, like, I can't keep it in, right? I'll just like blurt it out. I can't. It could be like a little white lie. It could be something funny. And even people were like, "Why did you tell me that?" I'm like, "Oh, I just thought I should tell you."
Yeah, gotta get it
So
out. No, I fucking love that, man. Like, I think that's created some light out of, the wrong path or some sort of darkness, that you've learned something from that. And I think communication is always the best thing, even if it's like, hey, April, I don't know really how to say this. I don't really know what's gonna happen. I don't fucking know shit. But I
yeah,
gotta somehow throw some jigsaw pieces out there, and then maybe together we can end up making a picture out of it. And I think
yeah,
we need to do that rather than like, no, I don't know exactly what this picture is, so I'm just gonna keep it in. It's like, but
exactly. I love that. That's exactly, and I love that. That's like openness, right?
mm,
Openness. That's what we say that in AA, right? We have an openness to whatever, talk things out. We're willing, right? Willing and open and honest. That's like the three key fundamentals of AA. And if you have those key things, like, you don't even have to be an alcoholic, right? Your life's going to be so much better. And there's going
mm,
to be less stress, and there's going to be less commotion. There's going to be less fighting, and there's going to be less worry. If you eat, the best thing is you can go to bed at night and have a clear conscience, right? Sometimes I go to bed and I go, what could I work on today? What didn't I do the greatest? And, to make tomorrow maybe a better day, right? Like, why was I angry today? Like, especially anger, because anger was my number one. Anger is always a secondary emotion, right? When people say they're angry, it's because they're afraid, it's because they're sad, it's because they're hurt. It's never, it's a secondary emotion. So with me, my anger could definitely drive me to drink if I don't figure out why am I angry, right? I mean, it's a killer. Like they say anger can kill for sure. Um, so I mean, I don't do journaling or anything, but I do take a almost like a inventory of myself each day and be like, well, why was I feeling this way? What could I do better? I know so many people in my life that don't take accountability, and it's actually one of my biggest pet peeves. And like I will call people out on it. I'm really good at taking accountability. I'm like, I could get upset about something, but then I'll sit back and go, okay, well, what's my role in that, right? What can I do? Did I somehow cause that? And if so, I will take ownership of something, right? So
Anger being a secondary emotion. That's really, really knocked me for six. That's beautiful. And it's so true.
yeah. Well, think about it next time you're angry, right? Like something pisses you off. Be like, okay, and that it's funny. This will probably help you be a little bit more emotionally intelligent, right? Like
Mm,
really look at your feelings and go, well, am I disappointed in someone? Am I scared? Fear is the huge one, right? Fear
hmm
of failure, right? Fear of losing something or someone, right? Um, it's a major one. Sad. I always mixed up anger with sadness when I sat back and I was like, no, I'm not angry. I'm sad or disappointed because so and so didn't do something that maybe I was expecting, right? So,
100%. Like every time I'm pissed off, angry, or just a little bit kind of irate, I'm always like, I'm pushed off center. I got to figure out what it is. I got to figure out why, and then I got to figure out how to put myself back to that homeostatic state, right? Rather than
yeah,
just like, oh, it's just sitting there and like burn down the world. You're like, probably not the greatest of ideas to do, but hey,
yeah,
who am I to judge? Yeah, I think about that all the time, whether I'm fucking driving, working out, or something. I'm like, I am getting pissed off about
yeah,
everything. And I'm like, all right, something's not right here. I'm either doing something that ain't me. I'm like not voicing something. I've not slept enough. It could just be something simple like you,
exactly.
like that.
That's what one of the things that we do too. I mean, obviously, I mean, being an alcoholic, I'm always monitoring myself because hell, I know if I relapse, I'll die, right? So
Mm,
it's life and death for me. So exactly what you just said there. Like, did I get enough sleep, right? Because that's a huge contributor, like, say, to my mood. And so, a lot of time when I do my self analyzing or my inventory, I'll be like, we kind of have this motto that we is called HALT. So,
mm,
at HALT. So, you can say, am I hungry? Did I eat today? That could be why I'm in a bitchy mood right now. Am I angry? Am I lonely? Or am I tired?
mm,
So those four things could be like for me, like I know sometimes in the evenings, if I don't my boyfriend has kids, right? So he spends a lot of time with his kids. Sometimes I'm alone in the evening and I'm bored and I'm like, oh, am I edgy because I'm lonely and I'm bored? Like, because that's when I used to drink was at night, especially, right? Like, what should I do? How can I fix that? So, for example, last night I looked up some recreational programs, some classes that I could take at night. And I'm like, maybe I'll take a yoga class at night now, or I actually signed up for this meditation
mm.
classes every Wednesday night. I was like, great, that's gonna help my mood because it's gonna help me get rid of my anger, so it's
Fucking
like I'm
love it.
always trying to find a solution. There's no way, of course I could sit at home and eat a whole bag of Doritos, but like because it's not alcohol. It's better than alcohol, right? But
That's the thing. You got to be careful about switching the vice
well,
to
and
another
I
one,
did
right?
that. And I did that when I came out of rehab. I was crushing I love candy. I love sugar, right? So I was like crushing these bags of like gummy bears every
Mm,
night. And then I was like, oh, I feel terrible. So but I remember my counselor saying, well, April, you're not drinking, okay? Like it's just a hump, it's just a little road you're going through, like it'll pass, right? And it did. So after 3 months, I've like just kind of stopped eating the sugar. So I got more into exercise and eating healthy, right? So
Mm,
I don't think I have anything right now that I do that's an addiction that replaces alcohol. I mean, I don't power lift nearly enough to make it an addiction. Like I go like 4 times a week, and then the off times I'll do my cardio. Like I don't,
mm,
and there's some people I know that spend all day in the gym. Like I don't do that. And,
mm.
you know, I can't say I have any addictions to anything right now. Like who knows? I could change next week.
That's the thing. That's just testament to you doing the work, you know, of
Yeah.
checking in with yourself and being like, no, 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 no. Like, let's figure out the root cause of this rather than just kind of the plaster on the broken leg. Let's take that bitch off and then
Yeah.
let's heal it, you know. That's
Yeah.
real
So, I
cool.
mean, you remember that. And I mean, I think everyone should remember that because guess what? Your relationships will get a hell of a lot better,
100%.
whether it's your girlfriend, whether it's your parents, whether it's your friends, right? Trust me, it's a great feeling. So,
Oh, I'm the type of person that tells people. I'm like, listen, like I don't really, even if I don't know what's going on, I'm like, this is the way it is. Why? Because if I don't do it, it's gonna cause drama and some weird elephant in the room. And I ain't got
yeah.
time, no energy for it. You know, so let's just fucking have it out now. You know, let's have a bit of a fist fight if we need to. Let's sort it out, iron
Yeah.
it out, and then let's get on to it. You know?
Yeah. Fight Club.
Oh yeah. Rule number one, right?
Right.
I got three questions.
Okay, sure.
What's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
What's the biggest buzz, sorry?
What's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
Is that compliment?
No, no. What's the
Sorry.
greatest piece of life advice you have ever received?
Oh, life advice. Okay. Um, sorry, your accent. You know what the funny part is? Your accent's not that bad, but this is a joke. So my boyfriend and I watch Hell's Kitchen,
Yeah,
and sometimes Chef Ramsay, his show, he goes to England and all these other parts, right?
yeah.
So I was like, no, I said I can't watch it. I said, I go, I can't understand the
You
accent.
just got to put the
He's like,
subtitles on, you
but
know?
he's like, it's not that bad, April. I said, I don't know what it is. I said, it doesn't matter what the accent is. I get all like weirded out. I can't understand it. Like, like I couldn't watch like the full Monty or a Fight Club. It'd be horrible. I couldn't handle it. It was just no way. Like, so no offense to you, sir. I'm just
No,
horrible at it. Okay.
I'm never offended and I'm not a sir even. So
Okay.
let's
You are,
fucking
sir.
crack
You're
on.
English.
I didn't get
Maybe
no
I did.
knighthood, you know? Maybe
No, I
one
know.
day. I'd be like, I don't need this shit, mate. Take it back.
Oh my God. No, so the greatest life advice, I don't hmm. Well, you know what? Honestly, I think the one thing that I've done, so my mom passed away when I was 25, and um in her like little, she kind of wrote this thing before she knew she was dying. She had cancer, and she always told me that if you're ever feeling sad or blue or down, the best way to get out of that is to do something good for someone.
Hmm.
So to volunteer. So I've always remembered that. And so obviously in my sobriety, especially, I've done a lot of volunteer work. I love helping people. I'm such a huge empathic person. It's crazy. It's almost borderline like too much because I cry when I'm happy. I cry obviously when I see something that hurts, that I see someone suffering. So I've done a lot of volunteer work, and I do, and I said to many people, I said, you would believe like the feeling it gives you, even if when you're in the drive-through, you buy the person's coffee behind you, you pay it forward, any little thing. It just, if you're having a bad day, just do something kind for someone. Whether, and I'm not saying giving money to strangers, buy maybe a homeless guy a sandwich, or listen to them talk, ask them how their day is going. It doesn't have to be anything major, but I tell you, all these little acts will make you feel so good, and it gets you out of your own head. Okay, so that's the thing. My thoughts are my enemy. Like I have so many thoughts going at one time. It's crazy that I just need that escape, right? So or I'll think about my mom, right? And then sure, I get sad, but then those wonderful world, like the words that she shared with me is what I do, right? I help people. So I think that's probably the best advice ever.
Oh, mate, that yeah, that real resonates. And I'm the same. Like mine will
Yeah.
just go down and fucking spiral, and you're like, Jesus Christ, I can't get hold of this bad boy.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, you've got to pay it forward is a great
Yeah.
way of saying it. You know, pass it on. You know, the
Yeah.
synergy between people is what makes the world spin.
Exactly. And I do believe that's how the world survives is
Yeah,
helping one another, right?
yeah,
That's how we survive as a human race in the world,
100%.
right? Yeah.
Right, Zoom's going to kick me out, so I just want to say thank you so much for this,
Yeah.
mate. This has been an honor and privilege.
No problem.
Talk shit anytime. You know where I am. And if I get
Yeah.
lost in Canada, I'm ringing you up.
Be better.
I will, 100%. Let's throw some weights around.
Okay. Keep you to it.
Mate, I appreciate it. Thank you so
No
much.
problem.
And you have a great day.
Okay, too.
All
See
right.
ya.
Bye, everybody.